What's up, guys? Got Andy coming on, owner of 181 Fitness here in just a minute. We align very well with our thoughts on training, thoughts on just fitness, and just excited to have him on tonight. So looks like he's just getting in. Gonna link him up here. And then we'll get rolling here in a minute. Andy,
Dave, what's up?
what's going on, man?
Not much. How are you?
Good, good. So I was just explaining to everyone out here that we align very well on our thoughts on training, fitness, and all things lifting related, which is why we get along so well. And just stoked to have you on tonight to hear a little bit about kind of your background and hear a little bit about 181 and all the things you guys are working on there. So thanks for coming on first.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad we could to make it work. I know we were a little miscommunicado at the first part, but I'm glad we're here. It is funny that we found each other. What, you just shot an email to me, and then we sat down and talked and hit it off pretty much straight away.
Yeah, it was,
keep people safe, keep people strong.
It was pretty instant. Yeah, I was a little not in a bad way skeptical, but I'm always skeptical going in and meeting with people to, if potential referral partners and those things, and we've talked about this, but there's definitely I need a high level of trust with someone to be able to work with them, and we established that fairly quickly.
Right, and you can usually see right through that
Yeah.
not in one conversation, but most of the time you can see. There's some pretty telling signs when you talk to someone about fitness and training and kind of their philosophy on everything. We both spoke the same language. We get it. And we're sounding very humble right now about this. But yeah, no, it's 181. I'll give a quick background on me because we were talking about that earlier. I moved out to San Diego 2.5 years ago. Met this wonderful guy named Cody who owned 181 Fitness. He was moving on to some other opportunities and gave me the chance to buy 181 Fitness. I was doing group class, I was doing customized fitness, I was doing personal training, and I jumped on that. And it's been fun ever since. I come from a family of small business owners, and mom's a small business lender. And when you're in the fitness industry, once you're out here, you know that you got to do it yourself to really make the most out of it. I mean, other people might want to do it their own way, but I think you and I both know that, and most of the other people that we follow and look up to are doing it the same way. So, it's a blast.
So tell me a little bit about that transition, though, from where you were at before San Diego, and then coming in and going to being able to buy into the gym like that. Your just kind of training career background leading up to that.
Sure. So I was given a wonderful opportunity to be a part of a group of awesome personal trainers. They call themselves fitness training consultants, and they were incredible in terms of education and continuing education and really just nailing home the details. Really asked a lot of me, really helped me change my professional and adult life in terms of really maturing, and that was something I'll be forever grateful for. And from that, it was just safe and effective exercise, and pretty much that being the foundation of everything. We have gone and built my entire training off of that. So did about 3.5 years of personal training with them, about 50 sessions a week, and then moved out to San Diego, got the job here at 181 Fitness, and then the rest is history.
Yeah,
did I answer your question? I start talking.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was at least we touched on part of it at least. So, but yeah, and that's one thing you mentioned there too about and I'm guessing you got this from the trainers you're working with there, but the kind of the attention to detail that you put to things is different than a lot of people that I see and have worked with in the training industry. There's not that detail that you have on really cueing position and really making sure that people are ready for the movements that they're going to be doing. You're not just having people maxing out without having the prerequisite movement, and that's kind of an extreme example, but even in the little things, that's something that just have noticed you pay a ton of attention to, and it pays off with the results your clients are getting.
For sure. And I think the biggest thing is ownership, ownership of what you're teaching. If someone's going to come to you and ask you for advice, if someone's going to come to you and, for us, pay for our services to make them feel better or look better or get them out of pain, I've got to have a certain amount of ownership for what I'm about to take them through. And that's what is really exciting about, our partnership, is that if I ever think that I don't have those tools, I'm immediately calling you and being like, hey, Dave, what am I missing? Or can you take a look at this person because they need it? But that ownership and that attention to detail is probably what sets apart the best and the great trainers from really anyone else. Because when you can really nail down your excitement and then way to how do I want to say this? When you can nail down how to communicate with someone, the quickest way to get them out of pain, so to speak, it's worth way more than whatever you're paying you. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something we've talked about too, with the getting people to buy in and how to have that conversation with we're selling much more than just the physical aspect of training.
Right.
And something I think you do a good job with, if you want to kind of expand on how you get people to, people aren't just coming in for, they're not coming in to try a few sessions and then be like, oh, well, that didn't work. You're getting people to commit to
right.
a long-term solution, not just quick fixes.
Yeah. Like our motto here is that you'll wish you had started a year from now, you'll wish you had started today. Because the long run and longevity is really where it's at. I would gladly get you to drop 30 pounds in, 30 days or whatever it might be, or 10 pounds in 30 days, or get you to go max lift and max out your bench press in the next 3 months. But all of that needs to be towards a bigger, greater purpose for you. Do you want to live a long and healthy, happy life? And that's what most of the time we're looking to not only have those clients with similar mentalities in here like that, but try and help people find that happiness for them. And that all goes into how we have that conversation as soon as they walk in the store. We want that to be a part of our community. We want that to be a part of our, our culture, so that when you come in here, not only do you feel loved, but you want to love yourself and be able to really, dedicate to the long term and be happy. That's what I like. Be happy.
For sure. Because how long have you been working with, some of the clients have been there at least since you've been out here in San Diego, for sure, right?
Yeah, I'd say more than half of them have probably been here for even longer. What was really great about when I picked up this business from Cody was that he had a very similar mindset. Some of these people are pushing 5-6 years since the beginning. And I've had total trust because we bring in people that have ownership. We bring in that type of personality and culture, so that, with my partner Ricky or Ian or Scott, we've got people that are loved. And the hell, even we had a former trainer and his client at the time that just got married, and there was a handful of us 181 people there too. So it's one big family, and I think getting people to buy into that and understanding that we buy into you as much as you buy into yourself is really important for not only success in this, but really anything. You don't have trainers yet, but had you been training trainers, or when you do train our trainers and do education, you care, and that's really effing awesome. I don't know if we can swear on here.
You're allowed to, yeah, if need be. But no, that's something I want to kind of dive a little deeper into, because I think that's something it speaks for itself. If you've been seeing these people for that long and they're getting the results that they are is it's awesome. But to be able to, from a trainer standpoint, of a lot of trainers, PTs, people in the fitness world are always about how do I get more people in? How do I get more people in at the expense sometimes of the people they're working with? And right. Both from a results standpoint, that can cause things to suffer, but talking from a business standpoint too, it's a lot easier to keep the people you have, and then trying to
right.
go out and get new people. But also for people listening that are maybe looking for a trainer, working with the trainer, to be able to find someone who's willing to put that trust and care and investment into you for the long haul, that this is, it's not and for some people, they just need it as a stepping stone onto something else. But for a lot of people, they need that, whether it's accountability or the professional knowledge, they need that over time. And it's got to be someone that's invested in you and cares for you. And I think that's something, you guys do a really good job with. But is that something you see in other, do you find that to be a problem, that some people are, from a trainer standpoint, looking for the next person too quickly?
I think so. And I think that's been one of our biggest, one of my biggest learning curves has been, man, I harp client retention and relationships and really caring more than you could care for a lot of people for your clients. And that is by far my always priority number one is our current clients. Because I just know that we can go into the business side of that, but really, I mean, if I care enough to really invest my time with them, then yes, we're building a now relationship, they trust and care that they're going to bring back to you. And for the most part, those referrals that might happen 2-3 years down the road could be more valuable than you cutting that person loose now and going to spend, $120 or per person to just bring them in the door. It's tough for me to look at it that way because I'm always trying to bring people in, but I'll never lose sight of the fact that client retention and giving our clients the best experience is priority number one. And I've learned that from so many people that I've talked to, whether it's in the fitness industry, whether it's, my dad who owns a restaurant and does catering, or even plenty of the other business people I talk to that I train. Keeping your current clients happy and taking care of them is by far one of the best ways to do it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that one. I think just wanted to touch on that because I think that's where some people are missing the mark when they're new into training. They might have all the knowledge and everything, but they're so focused on, next thing. It's easy to overlook the people that are right in front of you, the ones that we should be building relationships with and getting those results for the people that are already in there.
Right. And I think the other thing is that, like, we keep talking about investing into these people, but investing in yourself, like you doing all of your continuing education, all of my continuing education I do for myself, really helps, is investing into our clients, right? The more I know, the better chance I have to help you solve a problem or create a solution that you're currently going through for whatever it might be. And for a lot of young trainers out there, I always tell them, go hit the books, go read everything you can read, because the more knowledge you have and the more you can really find a path of belief in terms of training, whether it's yoga or FRC or PT or strength training. There's always going to be some underlying level of like, hey, I care about how your body moves. And that's, if you can really figure that out and continue education that way, then you're investing in your client just as much.
Yeah, no, I love that. I like two things you said there. The one is, the more you dive into things, the more you can kind of form your own style. And it's going to be a little different. There's so many philosophies out there, and there's not one thing that's right, or everyone would be using that same philosophy. But if you learn a little bit of, like you said, FRC, and you take some strong first principles, and you bounce around to these different things, and you form your own thing of, hey, this is what works for the majority of people I work with, and the more different tools you have to be able to draw from. And I think the second piece of that, though, too, that you kind of touched on is that being around people that are going to elevate you too. And that's why, we get along, because you challenge me in a lot of ways of what I know, what I'm learning. The ability to be able to talk through those things ups my game too. And I hope vice versa, but being around people that can lift each other up in a way that challenges, and not in a my way is better than your way, but really questioning it and learning from it is something that we have. And I think the more we can surround ourselves with people like that is going to be beneficial for that learning as well.
I agree. I like to not, what do they say? It's never be the smartest person in the room. Some quote like that. That's one of my favorite parts of being friends and colleagues with you, and most of the other people I bring in into my life, and especially from a business standpoint, is that I always want them to have some more knowledge over something than me, because that means I always have not only a resource, but a way to dive in deeper to certain things, whether whatever it may be. I'm finding right now, a big thing that I've had to focus on is, my own self in terms of business ownership and mastery, and teaching my own employees how to do those things. And that was such a weird transition for me. But yeah, being able to, I guess it's to be a sponge. We're just want to just try and absorb as much information as possible so that we always have the tools to help someone else succeed. Because I think no matter what philosophy we're doing, whatever it may be, we can all agree that we want to get out of pain. Mm-hmm. Right? That's probably the most simple way I could put it.
Yeah, I like it. I want to, you mentioned that shift from, business mastery and everything. And I think we were very much in the same boat starting out of we're not necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong for you, but at least speaking for myself, we're not necessarily business people by nature. We're super passionate about the training side of things. And that's, if we could train people all day and make a base living out of it would be fine for us if we could do it our way. But how did you make that shift from, passionate trainer into owning a business? Because I know a lot of people out there that don't know how to make that. That's a hard shift to make. They're like, I don't want to deal with any of the business side of things. I just want to train, but you have to be able to wear both those hats.
I read a lot. I read a lot of things, and I tried to find what would be, what started making sense, because I wanted to own everything. So that transition was from 0 to 100, and that didn't really work. And then, I was like, oh, maybe I got to delegate things. I got to figure this out, to have someone else do it. In your situation, it's really just you. So you have to work on where you're putting your time. But I think it's funny for me, it came back to all the same things that I tell my clients, right? I need to set myself realistic goals, actually put together an action plan and strategize for that. It sounds so simple, but that transition took me almost 1.5 years to really start nailing down and say, oh, I actually need to follow through with these things, because I could do it in the gym. I could do it for all of my clients in terms of putting together, almost life plans for them. But I wasn't looking at myself. And that's when I really determined to invest in myself, especially in the business side of things, because that really turned the page for understanding problem solving and what it takes to be successful every day, every minute, every year, and how those kind of undulations and ups and downs can really all be for the greater good. I feel like I'm going all over the place with that comment, but that's basically set goals. What a surprise.
Yeah, but it's something that's we say that lightly, like it is like it's the obvious thing to set goals, but it's so easy to get caught in the day-to-day of things and the thick of things, and we think we have it figured out. But if we're not like objectively setting those goals, writing them down is a big piece of that too, of something that's simple doesn't always equal easy, but the simple act of writing those down and then forming an action plan off of it has been something that when I do that, I'm getting better results on things. When I don't, it's a night and day difference.
It's all over the place, because once I know for me, especially when I set goals and really put together a strategy for it, I'm organized. And if I'm not organized, everything can go to the wind. And then I've got that sense of, what am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? And I can't stand that. And I had that for the first basically year of owning the business, and that I kept looking around like, what am I missing? And it was just, Andy, you're not setting any realistic goals right now. You got to sit down and put them down there on paper and tell someone else about it, get some accountability about it. And that really helped, because, I talk about this with a lot of my clients, and it's one of my biggest things I like to harp on is, are you happy? And can you define what your own happiness is? Because when you can define your own happiness, not just, sitting down reading a book on the couch, not that that could be your happiness. But, what really stimulates your brain, what really helps with your happiness, that really helped me start to drive my goals, both in the gym and for the gym and for relationships and things like that. That was such a mind-blowing experience to be, and then be able to communicate that to other people. So happiness.
I love that. Yeah. No, that's so cool though, that because I don't know if I probably heard it in some way, but the way you said it is, being able to define what that is, and that's going to look different. Not what you think that should be or what you think someone else wants that to be for you, but what that really is for you, and having a definition on that. Then we know, are we working our way there or are we not? Because
right.
I think arbitrarily we're always chasing this happiness that we don't even know what it is we're chasing, and then that leaves us very unhappy when we don't know what the end goal is or as we're spinning in circles.
Yeah, it gives you that sense. It's like, in the gym, if something's giving you pain and you figure out how to do it without pain, you don't try to go do it with pain again. But when it comes to actions in life, if you can't, I can tell you when I'm sitting on the couch, and if I pick up the controller to play some video games, I know if I can answer, is this making me happier? Is this productive? Is this working towards a bigger goal? I can tell you if that's a yes or a no. And sometimes it might be yes. Sometimes it might be no. But knowing that in each moment you have a choice to live towards that happiness, and it's not meant to be a weight on your shoulders. It's meant to be there to help you, live a happy life. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And not to put you on the spot, but to tie into some of the goal stuff, what's the, whether it's a happiness goal or whether it's a, just an objective goal, like where are you working in terms of your own training, maybe some other life business goals if you have any of those specifically, but what's that looking like for you?
Well, we're chasing 400 on the deadlift. That's a big one. We're debating I'm talking about myself. I'm debating if I want to get up to like 185, 190. I've always been a really skinny guy, so I love the idea that I've been able to put on muscle. So,
what are you at now?
What's that?
What do you weigh now?
177.
Okay.
So I can get up to 186 real fast. It just doesn't stay on. I know everyone probably hates me for that. But yeah, it's a definitely 400 on the deadlift, which I would like to put a little bit more body mass on for that. And then in here at the gym, we're trying to essentially come close to doubling our sales in the next 18 months, or doubling our revenue in the next 18 months. So that would allow us to really get on the 5-year plan of getting a bigger spot and getting some more trainers in here, and maybe get some turf and really start flying around with some athletes.
Yeah, love it.
So those are our big three, and then I guess I'll shout it out since I see my fiance on here. We're also getting married this year, so that's the big goal is to make it to that.
You would have said that even if you didn't see.
Exactly. We just had the bridal shower this past weekend. I got back from Philly last night at like 9:30, so that's why it sounds like I'm hoarse. We were partying with our family for 5 days straight.
Couldn't even tell you. You hide it well. I thought it was just from the coaching all day, yelling at people to pick it up.
Probably adding into it.
Yeah, but last thing with those goals though, what's it going to take to get to some of those points? How close are you maybe for like the deadlift, and what's it going to take to? Is there anything you have to change to get there? Because I find in my own training, speaking of training, I get caught in a place where I'm pretty comfortable, where I'm doing pretty good, but I'm not quite hitting all my goals. And there's usually one or two things that I know I need to change to get there. Do you have any of those things that you're working on?
Yeah, for me, it's focusing back on the core. I kind of go in phases. It kind of goes grip strength, upper back strength, and leg strength. And then I always forget about doing excess core work to help supplement that work. So beefing up my core work is going to be big, but keeping just a strong body, making sure the joints are healthy, making sure I know how to assume a deep squat position without having any pain. All of that goes into it, and that's a big thing for me. I'd say the one thing for me, though, is consistency. There are some days that you get locked into 12, 15 hours, or I'm running back home in the middle of the day, and there are times that my training is not as intense as what Instagram might show, or other Instagram models might be out there, acting like they're blasting it each day. For me, you know, sometimes it's 20 minutes of, you know, just deadlifts. And sometimes it's like, for me today, it was, you know, 30 minutes of mobility work and then 30 minutes of overhead press and kettlebell swings and chin-ups. So it doesn't have to be crazy for me. I like to keep it simple and just get back to being consistent, because that's where I tend to see all my results.
Well, I think that speaks a lot too, though, the ability to know, to have that intuitive feel of your body. And if you were just traveling and there's different things going on and you're working a long day, the people that try and push through that and, you know, try and either show themselves or show other people that this tough person mentality that does catch up if we're stressed and if we're not sleeping and if we're not eating as well and we're still trying to push in the gym. Something's got to give at some point. And at least I'm sure you see it too. I see it time and time again of the people that they don't always realize where those limits are. And there's nothing wrong with training hard from time to time or frequently.
Sure.
But knowing when to back off on that is, you know, it takes a little bit of ego at the door and a little bit of intuitively knowing what's best for you and your body.
Yeah, and I think that you know, for me, I've gone through my fair share of injuries. We didn't talk about it earlier, but I'm probably more unique than other trainers in the fact that I played ultimate frisbee for 10 years of my life, and in that process, I popped both my shoulders out 3 times. One time I popped them both out at the same time. You know, I've had lower back injuries from trying to deadlift too heavy. I've totally screwed up my knees, my ankles, time and time again, most of the time without real care afterwards either. So probably my biggest goal, which is my biggest goal in life, is to try and live as pain-free as possible. That's that one is probably the most important thing out there. But yeah, that's why, you know, at the end of the day, consistency of feeling good after training is by far my biggest goal. If I can deadlift 400, that'd be sweet.
That's yeah. Those can go hand in hand. People think it's always
right.
either or, but like you said, if you're prioritizing joint health and, you know, making sure you can get into these positions and everything, it's not a choosing between one or the other. They are both very doable, and your history is playing against you a little bit, but that's still something that, you know, with the right approach you can get both those things.
It certainly helped with my ownership of learning more and more about the body, of why does this hurt when I do that? And it's helped. It's been awesome, because then I go and find someone else that might have something similar. You're like, you know what? Every other cue I used for you right now didn't work, but it's something that worked for me might just work for you.
Yeah, so true. Selfishly, when people ask where I get a lot of exercise ideas from and everything, selfishly, a lot of it's rehabbing my own pains, past injuries, trial and error thing. That's the best drawing board is in the weight room doing those things and being like, hey, I messed X, Y, Z up. How do I?
So are you suggesting the best way to be a better trainer is to just beat yourself up for like 3 years and then figure it all out after?
If you can find a better way, I think there's something. I think there's something to that. Having gone through it in terms of relating to, because most people we're working with, and most people you're working with, I'm sure, aren't coming in as perfect movers. You know, scoring perfect on an FMS or anything. You know, we're getting people that are, you know, suboptimal to, and sometimes you get some better movers, but the majority of people are, I say, average from a, you know, physical standpoint, coming in to get the results.
Yeah, it's you know, it's what I love about your business name, Inside Out Strength and Performance. Like, that's it. Like, we're trying to work from the inside out. We want to know what everything is going on internally, because yeah, most people, even the best movers out there, have something going wrong, or that can be you know, be better on themselves, that will help with their performance for whatever that is. And people tend to think of performance as, you know, athletics, but performance could mean not being in pain throughout the rest of your day, or being able to do your job, which requires you to stand all day. You know, for you and me, especially back when I was doing, you know, 10 sessions a day, I'm on my feet all day. I've got to be able to stand. My performance is my job. People that are out there doing construction, people that are out there, you know, running around all day. everything could be performance. It's what you can do without that pain. And that's what, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but you said I could.
I did give permission.
But that's where we align so well, is that strength and performance are keys to being healthy and happy. And it's all relative. And you got to be out of pain to really maximize the both of those. But I guess we have to go through pain to get there.
Yeah. No, that's spot on. And I love what you say about performance being, it's people hear performance and instantly they think athletes, and people are always asking, they're like, oh, do you just work with athletes and CrossFitters and all the, and it's like, no, the majority of people I work with are, busy entrepreneurs and moms, single moms, and people that their performance is, showing up for their day-to-day life of being able to, show up, whether that's in work or in family, and being the best version of themselves, whatever that may look like. Getting back to your happiness definition of that's, performance doesn't mean athletes. We all have to be able to perform in, whatever that is, whether it's, work, whether it's in our marriages and families and with, friends and family. Those things are all equally important.
Yeah.
Arguably more important with relationships.
Well, think about how many people have trouble, like can't sleep through the night without some sort of pain or ache. Like, yeah. Would you consider sleep performance at that point? Like, it'd be nice to not have to wake up every night at 3 a.m. with a tweak in your neck. Or, I remember when I popped both my shoulders out, I had to learn how to sleep a completely different way. I had to sleep on my back like a mummy, and I was a stomach sleeper. It was like, what the hell? All of a sudden I had to learn and work on how to sleep better. But I can't tell you how many times that has changed. Someone comes in here with a neck or a shoulder problem, I'm like, how are you sleeping? And all of a sudden we're new beds, new pillows, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and how that sleep ties back in, though, to fitness and performance and weight loss.
Right.
Those other things. It's things we take for granted are other people's problems, too.
Full circle.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I'm sorry.
I want to respect your time, though, because I know you probably started at like 5 today, and I know it's 8 o'clock and you're just finishing up. But unless any last minute questions are coming in, if you want to just want to hear a few people that have influenced you, people you follow on either media or people you've followed either recently or throughout your early years that have influenced you, because I know a lot of people look for other other people to follow too. If you want to touch on a few of the many that I know.
All right, we'll go through a quick list here. Eric Cressy, Tony Gentilcore, and Mike Boyle, that Boston trio. I always look up to them. They're the first resource I go to find when it comes to smart programming training and giving it to you real about what. I'm now looking at them in terms of business, but that's where I spent the first 6 years of my training, continuing education. Obviously, Dan, John, and Pavel, and really anyone else that goes along with your strong first stuff. I really dig what Luca Hosser has been doing. Been following him for about a year and a half, and he's got probably the closest to what I want to be doing with my fitness career, about the same timeline as well. So he's probably the one that I look up to the most right now, because I see so much of myself in that position. And then really after, if you can't pick up on good coaching cues from them and all that, I mean, even T-Nation, you're going to always find good stuff at T-Nation. Who's the other one? Joel Sanders, the guy in Exos out in Arizona. That guy knows what he's talking about in terms of the art of training. And when you can figure out the art of training and how to communicate cues to clients, it goes a long way in terms of really being able to step your game up in terms of training. So that's my quick list. I can run through it again if you need me to.
No.
All right, good.
I know you got more of them too. Those are
the last 7 I saw on my Instagram feed.
Yeah. So, hey, I appreciate you taking the time, Andy. I know we could talk for many hours than we have before, so I gotta cut us off at some time, just out of respect for your time. But
thank you, Dave.
Where can people find you? 181 the best place to locate you?
Yeah, 181 Fitness on Instagram. We're pretty active there. 181 Fitness on Facebook, and then 181fitness.com. We keep it really freaking simple. And then if you go to our website, you can always hop on our email list. We send stuff out about twice a week, motivational stuff, updates with what we're doing, and then maybe if you're in the area, you can join us for any of the fun stuff that we do with our community. So,
for sure, yeah. Anyone in North County, San Diego, make sure to pop in, check them out. I'll have this video. This video will be up for I think the next 24 hours, and then it'll be up on YouTube as well for anyone that wants to catch it. So
you didn't tell me that.
I know. I waited
down
till after the fact. I didn't want you to get too worked up over it.
No worries. Well, Dave, the only thing is I didn't get to ask you how you're doing. You doing all right?
I'm good, man. Yeah.
All right, good.
Better now that I get to connect with good people like you. So
you're all moved into your place, right?
Appreciate the time. We're moved in. It's been a little crazy, but the Rogue equipment order has landed.
All right, good.
The unpacking is still happening, but pretty fired up. Yeah, give us a quick look around the gym there.
Oh yeah, here you go. Can you see? There's the view from my office. That's me in the mirror. Yeah, we got racks there. We got the pull-up bar through the middle. We're doing a pull-up challenge right now. Wall and ropes over the other side. Bunch of kettlebells right there. Yeah, we put as much as we can in this little space.
You guys, I've seen the early Instagram stories. You got people at 5 a.m. You're packing that place up.
Yeah, we're having a blast, actually. It's the coldest time of the day, and they're all in here. So thank you to all of them. Thanks, Deb. I see you in there.
The crew showing up. So, hey, appreciate it, Andy. We'll for sure be catching up soon. But thanks for taking the time. I know people will get a lot of good value out of this. I always love what you have to say.
Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll talk soon, man.
All right, see you, man.